4.
I can't see you.
I'll fix that. 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for July 19th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, industry volatility has returned and video games keep taking over Hollywood. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host, the Game Mess Mornings. It's Timur Hussein, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
You know what, Jeff? I'm not doing great.
Okay.
But I have something... I just thought of something that might be able to improve my mood. I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay, no, you do what you got to do. Self-care is number one here. He's already left. Tam deserves better, everybody. He's a good boy. He deserves to feel happy. I like his Batman chair. That's pretty nice. I'm gonna bring up chat. Hey, hi, Jason. Jason Finelli in chat there, everybody. An internet celebrity. Oh, Jesus. Do you feel better?
I feel much better
now. Why do you need other t-shirts?
Sometimes you just need to feel a little more in control of your life.
Yeah.
You know what?
You have, okay, for audio listeners, it is a shirt that says Miyazaki at the top, like a early 2000s new metal band font, and then a bunch of pictures of Hidetaka Miyazaki, just looking baller as hell. It's a good t-shirt, Tam.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
This is self-care.
This is self-care, not Jan's $300 t-shirts. I'm talking about just I can't remember how much I paid for this. It's probably $400. This is from a company called Celador, which is a one-man operation that I have a lot of fondness for. And you know what? Made a t-shirt with Miyazaki, and how could I not buy it?
No, of course you got it.
Every time I wear it, you know how like when Clark Kent rips his shirt open and has the Superman S underneath, and you know he feels good. You know he's about to pop off. That's what makes it to me. That's the impact this t-shirt has.
Right, it's unveiling your true self and your true strength.
Yeah, I can achieve anything when I'm wearing my Miyazaki t-shirt.
Well, it looks great. You don't need any other t-shirts, just this one. You're good to go. You could wear this under anything. Wear it under your tuxes for formal events and all that stuff. You're going to be good. We're at the BAFTAs next year.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah. You got the alfalfa going on. Is that a reference anyone on Earth just got? Little rascals?
The only alfalfa I know is it of Mice and Men? He's constantly talking about the alfalfa, George. It's probably not what you were going for. But...
No, but fair enough. All right, some people in chat got it. There was a movie in the 90s where they remade The Little Rascals, so hopefully some of you were alive then. Probably not. All right, let's explain what we do here. It's Dregs Day. We're just going to get through this one, Tam, and I'm going to go into it. I don't care about anything else. We're barreling forward. Most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with mass layoffs, of course. It's a party over here. They are hitting Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm. This is from George Yang at GameSpot. Good job from the GameSpot news team today. Lots of stories from them. Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm has laid off its mobile team. While it's unclear how many employees were affected, the number is reportedly more than 50. Several now former employees posted on LinkedIn about being laid off from NetherRealm. A quality assurance analyst said, unfortunately, NetherRealm's mobile team was shut down. A ton of very talented people were put out of work. We have had live services on multiple titles, such as Mortal Kombat Mobile, Injustice 2, and Mortal Kombat Onslaught. An animator also said, it hurts me to announce that I've been laid off from NetherRealm Studios after about 10 years of working there. GameSpot has reached out to WB Games for comment. Over the past few years, many game studios have conducted mass layoffs. I was kind of like lying to myself a little bit, Tim. Like, you know, I was doing a story about layoffs every other day on this show for like the early part of this year, and it slowed down once we got to around Summer Game Fest. And it's like, okay, we're in the summer. A lot of people are taking time off. Maybe they like got all the layoffs out of their system and we're good. And now it feels like, nope, we're going to be right back at it. Maybe this is an outlier. I get the sense that it's not. I bet there are. I feel like there's more layoffs coming still. We're just not actually through it, right?
I think based on the recent trend of layoffs and the things that instigate it and what the people who are conducting the layoff chalk it up to or assign as the reason, I don't think that we're through it. Like, we're not. This is an ongoing trend now. This isn't an outlier.
Yep.
There's no such thing as an outlier in this industry when it comes to layoffs currently. The outlier is currently the studios that manage not to lay teams off in the larger space anyway, which is a shame in terms of how I think about it. I think this is one of those situations where you could probably I look at the news story and I understand why this is happening. Like, a mobile team that's rough, man. Like, mobiles, it's not gonna be a major operation for them.
Right.
However,
it's either working or it's not, right? And you know when it's not working.
It's either working or it's not. However, there's a responsibility from these companies to ensure that they're doing right by those people, but also making the gambles, as it were, in the right places. And you could have asked anyone many years ago about like whether mobile is going to work, and they would have probably said probably not for something like Mortal Kombat. But it did okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think the issue here is more like Warner Brothers wanted to tighten the belt a little more,
100%.
and they looked at where they could do it in the video game space, and NetherRealm's mobile team just got cooked by it. I have no doubt that those developers could have easily moved to another part of the studio and been super, super helpful there. And I imagine there's some people at NetherRealm that wanted to do that and tried, but at the end of the day, it's if Daddy Warner comes along and is like, we need to save this much money or get, stop spending money on this thing, like, there's not much people can do about it. It sucks, again, and I will always continue to chalk it up to capitalism, greed, negligence.
The system just coming in and calling the herd again?
Yeah,
weird, yeah.
Exactly. It's just a shitty situation. And also, I have this, like, isn't Zaslav the one who's like at the top of this food chain?
Yes, he is.
And
David Zaslav is.
Yeah, given his recent moves, I have nothing but confidence that it was him being a fucking lunatic about everything. Because that seems to be how he operates.
Right. Like, they're like, hey, what is our budget going to be, WB? And David Zaslav's like, haha, I'm going to change the name of the service again. And also, you don't get any more money. So lay some people off. It sucks. And it, overall, like, it feels like the industry has several other shoes yet to drop, like the other shoes yet to drop on, what's happened with some of these big games that came out recently. Like EA College Football came out. Had that not done well, you can imagine a world where, like, well, Tiburon, we built you up to, like, make yet another game. That didn't work out, so we're going to lay off. Like, okay, no, that game worked out great. So it's like they should be fine. But like, there's a lot of other teams where it's like, very big teams out there that have put out games recently that you wonder, like, okay, are they going to be okay? And it just right now, it feels like probably not. Who's going to get out unscathed from this year? Almost nobody, it feels like. So yeah, it's rough out there. I'm hopeful that, again, as I think I say every time we talk about this, that there is an other side to this coming sometime, but we're not there yet. And like you said, it makes you see how they end up here laying off the mobile team, but those mobile teams have had hits in the past, and it's like, man, can you just like do another one of those WWE games where it's like, yeah, you turn it WWE characters into Mortal Kombat kind of guys and they're fighting? That seemed pretty cool. Do another one of those, and like, apparently it wasn't worth it to them, and instead they'd rather just lay off that team. And that's the best way for them to make or / save money, and that's really unfortunate right now.
Yeah, also that it's the standard operating procedure of, like, I'm not saying this is what happened here, but I think I've always hated the sound of it. I've never been part of it, but the idea that you scale up for a project and then scale down, it is like infuriating to me. Like I that lack of consistency is, I don't know how people can live with that. I don't know how other people can do it to another person. I'm just like, geez Louise, man, that's crazy. And that's the kind of thing that needs to stop.
Right. And like that happens in making movies, right? Because like you get hired as to contract onto a project, but they have like unions in place to at least provide some sort of continuity between these jobs and things like that. And it's that's not in the gaming industry, so that feels like you're just out there without a net. And then the solution to that problem, Tam, was mobile games with the live service elements that made consistent money that was very predictable, and even that is volatile these days. So it's bad out there across the board.
Yeah, it's at this point, I don't know what anyone can say. It's like you just have to hang your head and like shake it and be like, when is this industry going to sort itself out? Because there will come a time when things kind of like go back to the upswing.
Yeah.
And my hope is when that happens, the people who are in a position to be hired remember what has happened now, and they advocate for themselves much better than we have historically. I know that unions aren't a super big, presence right now, but they are growing. But man, if you're out there and you in some point in the future you're going to get you're in a position where you're going through a hiring process in the video game industry, don't take no shit.
Yep.
Because ideally in that situation, devs are going to be in need, so you should have some power. Don't come at it with the kind of childlike naivety that most of us do when we come into this industry at various angles and in various parts of it, and just take what you're given. Like, you hold the gun in that position. You make sure you wave it around a bit.
Right. Call an ambulance, but not for me. Like in that moment, you take your power.
Exactly.
And you're right, because there is going to be an upswing again. And I'm glad you were like, hey, and developers recognize what's happening, because we know the executives, the people in charge, are once again going to make big bets, take chances, risks, and that will put people's jobs on the line once again. They will become completely blind to the past, and they'll repeat their mistakes. We'll be back here again at some point. Once things get good again, we will return to this cycle. Because they can't help themselves. It's inevitable. So yeah, do what you can to take care of yourself and the other people around you. All right, let's keep going with Dreg's Day. Ubisoft delays 2 upcoming games. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Ubisoft has delayed 2 of its upcoming games. As part of the company's earnings announcement, the French publisher revealed that the mobile games Rainbow Six Mobile and The Division Resurgence are no longer expected to release in the company's fiscal 2025. That means they won't be released until sometime after March 31st, 2025. The development teams are using the additional development time to ensure that these experiences deliver on expectations. Tam, I'm at a point where it's like, those didn't come out, or they still exist, or I guess, did they ever exist in the first place? Like The Division Resurgence, I don't know which one that is. But Ubisoft.
Wait, so which one is it?
The Division Resurgence, and then Rainbow Six Mobile is like, I know what that is.
Homeboy, I did not know either of those existed.
Right, and I guess the point here is that Ubisoft for some reason keeps trying these things and then keeps pulling back, and then comes back and does them again, and then puts them on the shelf and takes them down back off the shelf. I know that was like the Division Heartland, which I don't at this moment. I don't know if that
Division is Shortland.
Yeah, I don't know if that came out or got canceled or what. I have no idea what the current state of the Division Heartland is. I just know that at one point it was in development, then it wasn't, and then they put it in development again. And I think the last thing was...
I think they canned that.
And then I think the last thing was, right, they canned it, yes.
I should search for Division Shortland instead of Heartland.
Well, they canned that for sure.
Yeah, it's dead. It's
right.
Dead.
I don't... I don't know kind of what the thinking is.
Was Heartland the one where you could, place items and stuff?
I thought that was kind of the Battle Royale one.
Yeah, but you could do weird structure building stuff, if I remember correctly.
Maybe I
went to a preview for it, and I was like, they pitched me on it, and I was like, what is this, man? This looks
Okay, yeah, so
insane.
it's a survival game where and you could like build your structures and stuff. Yeah,
I was like, who wants this, man? Like this, it was a thing where someone got handed a sheet of paper and it had like a list of games on it and everything that they do, and then they basically went that and that go and
pick it from a menu.
Exactly. And it was just like, what the fuck? You can't pick and mix this.
Yeah, I guess
crazy.
I guess it feels like with these games, they do just sort of happen on accident from Ubisoft at a certain point where they're like, I guess we have these teams and we have these properties. I guess we're making Rainbow Six mobile, which like Rainbow Six has been very popular for a very long time. Getting a game like that onto mobile makes sense. You want to be everywhere you can. Whatever. The Division Resurgence. I maybe it makes sense, but when I'm like, look at it, I'm like, man, I cannot keep track of this stuff, and all it feels like it's doing is diluting the brand. But I don't know. Maybe they think they have something here. When these games show up, are you going to care at all? Because I'm probably not going to play either of these.
No, I think I will probably. I try and make a point of playing at least some of everything.
Mm-hmm.
If we end up reviewing it, then I will probably dive a bit deeper. I try and play everything review so that we don't have a situation in which we had, I won't say what game, a couple of times before where I wasn't fully in charge back then, but a review came in, review went up, and score was up, and then I played the game, and I was like, this is absolute dog shit. How did it get this score? Why did this happen? And it turned out like playing the game, not enough people played enough of the game to be like, ooh. And obviously it was that reviewer's opinion, which fair play, they justified it very well. But I played it and I was like, what the no.
Yeah, it was Red Dead Redemption 2, everybody. You're right.
No, you'll never guess what game it is. You'll never guess what game it is because no one remembers the game exists. So now what I do is like, if someone's reviewing a game, I play that game as much as possible so that when it comes in, I can be like, sounds a bit weird. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's always good to be able to like speak to. Like, I mean, you're editing them anyhow, so being able to speak to the points they're making is great.
And to be clear, I'm not telling a person how to review it. What I'm doing is having enough knowledge to challenge them and see if they can back it up. So if they like are like, no, this is why it's like this, and this is why I feel it's that way. Even if I disagree, I'm not looking at what they're saying as much as are they justifying it or reasoning it well enough for me to believe that they genuinely believe this. And it's not just a case of like, yeah, it's fine or whatever. Like, it's 10 out of 10. Good. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's keep moving here. College Football 25 only trails Call of Duty and Fortnite on the popularity chart. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. EA's College Football 25 hit the ground running this week. It seems that as the game's early player statistics are proving to be extremely impressive. Circana analyst Matt Piscatella shared on social media that on July 17th, College Football 25 ranked number 3 in the U.S. for daily active users on Xbox Series X and S, trailing only Call of Duty and Fortnite. On PS4, College Football 25 was number 4, trailing Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Impressively, College Football 25 is putting up these numbers prior to the game's official release on July 19th. So far, the game is only available to people who bought the $100 Deluxe Edition or tried the game via the EA Play 10-hour trial. The standard edition arrives on July 19th. That's impressive. The game is doing very well. Obviously, I think maybe a significant number is the EA Play, but I mean that's because people would have that if they have Game Pass Ultimate, so you would have access to EA Play. And like EA Play is also on PlayStation, but it's not including like PlayStation Network, so I don't know how much of a difference it's making there. Clearly, though, a lot of people have just purchased this game at $100 and are playing it. It is crushing. It's going to be one of the biggest games of the year, Tam.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know anything about college football. I know that it's a big thing in America, and the game has been gone for a while. And
since
13. Yeah, my understanding is like they kind of like just take the Madden games and like tweak them up a bit.
They did that in the past, not with this one for some reason.
This one is the one.
All
where
the ones
like,
previously did that. This one, at least when I talked to people, it was like, no, they're going to try to make this own thing.
Yeah, it's probably because it's been gone for a really long time, and they need that one game to establish a reputation before they start letting it like maybe dip and like start go up and down in the same way that the Madden games do, but like it seems like it's popping off so like crazy. Like it's weird because, like, transparently speaking, it's a weird niche that's really hard to cover for someone like me, for example. I don't cover that game. I don't know. I don't play college football games. Like, and even we have, like, I have a reviewer who, funnily enough, is British, but is like crazy about how much he loves NFL and NFL games as well. And I was like, "Do you want to review the college football games?" And he was like, "I don't know shit about college football. I can't tell you
there's
anything."
There's a lot of people who are like that. Like, I don't really watch college football.
So like if you look on GameSpot, there's no college football review. Also, Grab, you off the hook for that review. I was trying to get you to do it, but you're off the hook. I know you're busy.
I wanted to do it, but I just don't have the time, especially with Jan and Bacalar and Dan all gone. It's been tough over here.
Yeah, I found someone to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Good.
I'm glad. Okay, then I feel even less bad. Great.
Yeah. And that's like it's such a weird blind spot that even I had, and my cat is trying to open a cupboard. Hey, just turned into a little velociraptor. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a weird thing that I knew when I saw it was coming out on paper that it was going to be a big deal. I didn't realize it was going to be this much of a big deal. And I think it's that perfect confluence of Americans are perverts about teenagers playing sports.
100%.
And then it's been gone for so long that this is the one where everyone's like, oh, hell yeah, it's back.
Yep.
Like, for example, if they release an NBA Jam tomorrow and it was just okay, I bet that game would sell like crack cocaine. Like,
yeah,
it is going to, because
well,
because like it's been gone forever.
Right.
Like, get it back. Speaking of which, EA, for God's sakes, make a half-decent NBA Jam game. Even me, before I was in a position to watch basketball every day, used to play the shit out of NBA Jam. It is mind-boggling that they don't have a good like basketball game that is like arcadey.
Yep, we're in such a weird place of games where it's like, making awesome like arcade sports video games doesn't make sense for you. What the hell are we doing here? Like, if that's the case. So that's always frustrating.
I've been trying to, like, because I finally, like, I'm super into basketball, but I want to get into basketball games, but this stuff is so complicated, man. I feel like I'm losing. I downloaded 2K and I started playing and I was like, this is harder than fighting games, man. I can do like
going on there.
I can do like fucking infinite combos on Marvel vs. Capcom. I can't do this shit. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm just gonna play the my coach or my manager or whatever it's called mode and just be like, you, Steph Curry, you're not getting traded.
Yeah, you just do spreadsheets. There you go.
Yeah.
That's less complicated than playing the game. That's weird, but that's true. You're not wrong. Same is kind of true of college football. I have been playing it. Really enjoy it. I've been sticking to the dynasty mode. I mentioned earlier, if people have heard me talk about it, that I didn't want to do recruiting, so I was a little bit disappointed about kind of only really having the dynasty mode or the create a player mode as the two main offline modes. There is auto recruiting as an option in the dynasty mode. I turned that on, and now it's kind of exactly what I wanted. So I'm doing pretty good over here. I still think there's probably should be more modes, but I don't really, at a certain point, I'm like, I don't know what that means. It just like when I think what it really means is I want like a playoff mode that is offline where I can just set up the playoffs how I want and go through those and see that. But that is something they'll probably add in future versions. This game has a very solid foundation, very fun to play. If anyone is like listening, like, and isn't interested in college football and you don't have the history with it, I think they really nailed what is fun about it, which is it feels like at any moment a play could break down and a player could do something spectacular because they have the athleticism to pull it off. It's just like really cool to be playing as like, oh, I'm the quarterback. I'm also the fastest player on the field. And I'm going to go through this gap in the defense. And then I know this one guy's going to come at me. And if I time my jump right, I can just completely hurdle him. And the animation looks so perfect on that stuff. It feels really cool. You just feel like a badass. They nailed a lot of that stuff. So I think I'm like in the 4 out of 5 to even 5 out of 5 is where I'm at with it. But I think I'd probably set on 4 out of 5 personally, just because like it feels like they could have even more content in there.
I'm excited for you lot.
Yes, I appreciate that. And you're right, we are perverts. Everyone across the world that's like, that's so weird. Yeah, It's weird.
No. Actually, I can get like college because I feel like the pipeline from here's the thing. College makes sense, right? Like as long as those college athletes are getting what they deserve, which it seems to me is better now than it previously was.
Name, image, and likeness rights have now become a thing where they can get paid for, and they are getting paid for that.
Yeah, that's great. And especially if the work to become a pro NFL player begins in the college era, and it helps that process along, then having this be a cog in the machine that allows you to raise your profile and prove yourself, fine. That makes perfect sense. The thing that I think Americans, that I will put my foot down on, and I think that you are completely unhinged, and it's one of those things where everyone outside of the country is probably looking at this and going, these people are legitimately insane, is Little League.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like high school football. Like high school football is also crazy, but yes.
I was like, the amount of times I've been at the gym and like a sports channel is just showing children playing baseball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Treating it like it's ESPN with like...
So I was never a Little League
video
guy.
Packages and like commentary and that kind of stuff. I'm just like...
It's what it reminds me of.
What is going on?
And I think you should leave Little Buff Boys. Like, oh, look at this crop of boys playing ball out there.
I just like I think it only happens like once or twice a year.
The Little League World Series happens once a year, but Little League is a thing that happens all the time. It's not on TV.
Leave these kids. You don't have to monetize these kids.
You gotta monetize teens, everybody, and tweens.
Just let them play. Like, and you know what? Help the kids put on this production for like in person.
Right.
You don't have to show it to everyone in America. It doesn't need to be that way. Just leave like you the amount of like weird complexes that it's probably creating and weird situations.
For sure. Yes, that's 100% happening. But that would probably happen without the TV cameras, but that doesn't help. There is the Little League World Series, which is teams from all over the world. But Tam almost likely did see there are times when like the American team is like being chosen. And like that is a bunch of American teams playing against one another, and that is kind of strange to see on TV.
I don't usually look at the chat, but I glance over a chat, and someone's like, "You come from a country that has snooker and that shit on. Those are not sports." I'm talking about children on the television.
Listen, children's snooker is pretty wild. I gamble on that constantly.
I'm not saying baseball's not a sport. It is the most boring shit I've ever seen. But what I'm saying is they are children. They are just kids who are playing the little baseball, and every adult is like, get the cameras on them. Get the cameras on them, get the advertising package, get a commentary, and these kids are just like, they're shit, they're crap. Like, let them play quietly, man, and let them move on. Also, no one watches snooker. That shit is boring as fuck.
Well,
like,
I'll watch billiards.
I mean, I tell a lie. I have watched snooker, and it is weirdly compelling when you're like just sitting there and you're like slightly out of it, and you're sick, and you're just watching these people like ball after ball after ball, like what? It's like watching someone in a fighting game do a one-hit KO, where you're like, is it gonna get all of them in one? It doesn't. The thing that's really funny to me is darts. Darts is the dumbest shit you will ever see.
They like treat it with such pageantry and intensity that I can't not watch it when it's on.
Yeah, it is. It's a thing that you also like. We can't. England is a cricket nation as well. And I can't deal with cricket is British baseball. You watch it, you're like, I feel like I'm being tortured. I feel like I'm in a fucking Naruto Sharingan torture thing.
My favorite thing right now is on TikTok is there's a beef happening between baseball and cricket, where like cricket people are like, a baseball player could never play cricket. And I'm just like, oh, honey, come, like, guys, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Skips on the ground, so that's going to make it so much. No, come on. Have you seen how Skeen throws the ball? A cricket player would never be able to hit this ball. Are you kidding me? It's both of you would struggle in each other's leagues, even though it's the same thing, just because it's slightly different.
It's just fucking Red Vines and Twizzlers fans arguing over which one's better. They're both ass. Just grow up. Move on with it. Just pick up like handfuls of sugar and stuff it down your throat. It's easier and probably tastes better. You don't need wax as a delivery method.
But they deserve each other, the cricket players and the baseball players.
I will. I know it's America's pastime. Baseball is so fucking boring. It's hilarious.
I'm not defended.
I respect you guys that you like it, and
boring stuff rules sometimes.
I'm all for it when you guys are like, oh, you go there to like eat and be merry and drink and just
like
kind of stuff.
It's a good thing. It's the right sport for if like you want to go hang out with friends from work, because you can actually like have the conversation that you were been trying to have. You can't like go into a hockey game or basketball game. Those things, there's something happening all the time. You have to be paying attention to that shit. And football's kind of too loud.
Is there like I think so. Like basketball, I'm a basketball lover. Okay, and I know some people hate basketball as well. Also, I'm just mostly kidding here. I know. Like,
sure,
these are all my personal opinions. I get everyone loves baseball.
Yeah, everyone. I'm not trying
to yuck you. Yeah, I'm good for you. Like, I've been to baseball games. I watch baseball every now and then. The whole time, I'm just like, God. Is there like a arcade version of baseball? Because like basketball has that Ice Cube version. What is it called? Big Three or something like that?
You mean like real world, like the arcadey version of it? Yeah, I mean, there's probably something like
is
that.
There like a professional sped up version of baseball?
Right, Banana Ball is good. Yeah. So
Man, that's not a good name for it.
Well, they're like it's on YouTube. You should actually look it up. The Savannah Bananas. They kind of tour like the Harlem Globetrotters is probably maybe the best example of it. It's a bunch of people who like just missed making the big leagues mostly, and they go out and they have a bunch of rules. Like there's a pitcher that plays on stilts and he throws the ball, and there's a bunch of times where like a music will play and the whole defensive unit will do a coordinated dance, and in the middle of the dance the guy will pitch the ball, and it looks like a lot of fun. If they ever come here, I'm going.
In my mind, what I was thinking was like an NBA Jam version of
the
baseball.
Says if a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out.
No,
rules.
This is Mario Party version.
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
Kind of,
yes.
You know what I mean?
And that maybe
Big Three
it's better.
Is like a NBA Jam, NBA Street version where it's like 3-on-3, half court, that kind of thing.
Baseball's a hard. Basketball. There you go. There's a movie about it, a documentary, I should say. There you go.
Okay, I'll check that out.
All right. Former Chibi-Robo developers announced spiritual successor for Co-Robo. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. A new studio formed by former Chibi-Robo developers has announced a spiritual successor, and Chibi-Robo is like an old kind of puzzle platformer game that started on the GameCube. There was a few more here and there, but it was kind of associated with Nintendo. I think Nintendo might have published some of them.
Yes.
But they're not making Chibi-Robo anymore. So Tiny Wonder Studio, which includes key members of the Skip Limited Studio, which worked on Chibi-Robo on the GameCube, have revealed Co-Robo, a new 3D platformer starring a similar protagonist. And it's actually very similar. The game will be directed by Kenichi Nishi, who was a former co-founder of Skip and the co-director of the original Chibi-Robo game. He's being joined by a bunch of people that worked on previous Chibi-Robo games, and they have a Kickstarter campaign that will start July 22nd with the aim of being to release the game on PC and consoles if enough funding is achieved. Part of me is like, I'm glad that these spiritual successors are still happening. And this one is very much just exactly that game. But made with a different name in a lot of ways. Did you have any love for Chibi-Robo? It's one that I always wanted to play, and I never actually got around to it.
Me and you, we'll do a stream of Chibi-Robo.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Do you know what Choaniki is?
I don't.
Just real quick. Do you know what Choaniki? Do you know? Because they're
look at me. Look at my face. Okay.
Little buff boys. There he is. There's a man
that knows what Choaniki is. Okay.
It's the face of a man who knows about Choaniki.
I grew up on the internet as a gamer.
Yeah.
I knew how to import video games.
They're doing a collection.
Is.
And I can't remember where it was. It must have been Game S Mornings yesterday, where someone in chat says we should get Nikki and Jana Cho to play it and call it Ochoa Nikki.
That is good.
How incredible is that?
That is good. That is good.
So we got to find the name that is like half as good as that for us playing Chibi-Robo.
For Chibi-Robo?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there somewhere. But yeah, I'll play some of that. And this looks cool. I always thought the idea of these games looked cool. Little robot. In Chibi-Robo, I think you had to go occasionally plug yourself in, like you had a little power cord behind you, and you would run out of energy, and I think you had to find an outlet and charge up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I never played them, but
right.
I remember I remember like I was very aware of them, and I think I had a Chibi-Robo like figure at one point. Of him like holding up like an American style plug or something like that.
Yeah. That sounds
I
right.
don't think it was a legit thing. It might have been like a little like cardboard.
Is there an
folder.
amiibo? Yeah, they did make an amiibo. Did you have an amiibo?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Some
Like maybe Nintendo
London.
just like sent you a random sample of amiibos or what?
Maybe something like that.
I'm glad they're doing this. I wish them luck. What do you think the appetite is out there for Kickstarters these days for games like this?
I think that Kickstarters continue to do fine, like quietly.
Right, quietly they could probably still do fun.
I think there's been a bit of a course correct where I think that the way I'm phrasing it, I'm going to phrase this because it sound actually who cares. I think that people are taking the piss with Kickstarters for a while, where it's like, hey, I want to make this game, give me $2 billion, and it'll be like, what? Okay, and people would do that.
Someone's like, "What? Yeah, what? Okay." If it's Star Citizen, everyone else didn't make $2 billion, but
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like now there's people are being a little more reasonable with it and like setting goals that are good and asking for goodwill from people and earning it. And I think that crowdfunding does a little better in Japan than it does elsewhere in the current stage of it, where creators of beloved, even niche IPs and games can go to Kickstarter and other crowdfunding campaigns and make a legitimate case for bringing back something or a spiritual successor and do pretty well. Isn't there that sort of Calnavera, something like that is coming out, which is like a Final Fantasy Tactics style game?
Oh, really?
Which, I think that is crowdfunded. I'm not sure. I may be wrong here. I'm sure chat can tell me. That was like that did pretty well. So
right.
I think it does okay. Yeah.
And it's I think then it's always good when you see the team sort of just come out there and say, like, hey, we're making this, and here's our pedigree, and we're building a whole new team to make this, and it's not like that Mighty Number 9 situation where it's like, well, I'm designing it, but I'm going to bring in this other team to actually make the game. And it's like, okay, well, what's the situation there? And it's like, okay, it's actually this team that didn't have, was going to work for cheap, and it's going to show. It feels like this one's being done because they love Chibi-Robo and they just want to make more of that.
Sorry, it's called Sword of Convalaria.
Okay.
And I think I was mistaken on that one. It's not a crowdfunding, but it's one of those ones that I thought was because there was a bunch of like JRPGs that were brought back, or the team that made X JRPGs making another JRPG on Kickstarter. Would you like to fund it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, the spiritual successor in general, whether like however it gets made, I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad that they also have options. I hope this one they're able to pull off. This sort of Vinny Caravella looks decent as well. So sure, I'll check that out. Absolutely. Yeah. You think this dude's got a lot of swords?
It's out this month. Sweet.
All right, cool. Is it on Steam?
I think so. Yeah, and Google Play by the looks of it. I don't know.
I
don't know. Maybe it sucks. Who cares?
We're going to take a quick break here in a second. Before we do, someone just shared in chat, and I saw this earlier. I didn't have it as one of the stories. A Deadly Premonition VR demo was tested and scrapped, though Swery expressed interest in creating a VR adaptation if given the chance.
I can think of nothing more messed up than a Deadly Premonition VR game.
Yes. Imagine what Swery could do to you in VR.
I think the good thing that would come out of it would laser focus on the most effective ways of making VR make other people throw up. I bet you he'd figure it out, and by accident he'd create some sort of revolution in solving the VR motion sickness thing.
Right. He would be trying to create a digital weapon, and it would also create a digital medicine that cures all your ails in VR.
Exactly.
All right.
The original game made me throw up multiple times.
Without the
I loved it as well. I was like, what is frame rate, man?
Oh, man. I've never played Deadly Premonition, and I should fix that someday. All right. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, a few more headlines right after this. All right, we are back. And if you're watching on YouTube later, if you're wondering where the headlines are, Sean and Jan are out. They normally do the headlines for me, like live. They have a little way of like injecting those into the stream, and they're just not around, and I don't have the capacity to make it happen right now. So sorry about that, but we'll get back to a normal show next week. For now, though, Apple is doubling down on its gaming ambitions. This is from Tom Caswell at GameSpot. Tom's got a kind of a long write up here that really dives deep into all the aspects of what he saw when he went to a showcase of games and devices that Apple put out for the media last week in New York City. He says, I got a chance to check out a selection of titles across the company's various hardware options, which put the reality of Apple's gaming prospects into focus. The company recognizes the potential, and it hopes that AAA video game experiences will catch fire on its hardware. And he runs through, it's like, you know, there's stuff like Valheim, Palworld, Frostpunk 2, all running on, you know, Macs and then iPads and iPhones. And they, for the most part, ran really well. Frostpunk 2, a game that's not out yet, did have some performance issues, but that is normal. Tam, we've been talking about this initiative the last couple of weeks and how the games like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7 and a bunch of other games that are very successful elsewhere have maybe sold a few thousand copies on iOS so far. And a part of that is there's only like one or two phones that can actually run these games out of the entire iOS lineup. Of course, that's not going to help, but a few thousand copies still for, you know, there's millions of those one or two phones in the world, if not tens of millions, which I bet there are. Clearly the people are just not going to be embracing paying $50 to $70 for video games on their devices. I guess my question to you is, okay, Apple's still committed to this, and the evidence is they had Tom to go see some stuff in New York. And this is happening recently after we've seen the sales of these games. What do you think it would take for Apple to make gaming work for them?
A little thing called Game Pass.
Well, they have Apple Arcade. There we go.
Yeah,
solved.
I feel like weirdly, if I was in charge and I was like, they were like, we need to make a move on these major games on our Apple devices. What do you reckon we should do? I think the thing that I would probably try and do is what Game Pass is, but on mobile devices or like smaller devices, where it's like you pay a subscription, and as part of a subscription, you get a library of games that you stream in the way that major games are streamed, or you know, you can download some of them as well. But I think that would probably not work in a meaningful way. I just don't think people want to play games of that caliber on a small device.
Right. So what if the real answer is Apple's Steam Deck? Like, why couldn't they just take an iPad, kind of just scrunch it down a little bit, add controllers to the side, make their Steam Deck, and they have the chips that are ready to go that can play all these games. It's I don't think that would be like a silver bullet, but I think that is the best case scenario for them to show that they're serious about games, is to make a gaming device.
I think the issue we have, and I think we've learned about it recently with Apple, is Apple's business, their brand, and the way they approach R&D and marketing and sales of their products is antithetical to that being a success. And I think the best case of us seeing it in action is that VR headset that they put out, where it was like in a time when
Vision Pro
VR headsets are going down in price and people are like starting to think they're okay and buying them. Apple Appleified their latest version of it, and people were like, no thank you, because it was like high end. Sure, it did some stuff that was cool, but like it was way too expensive, and it was like, and now it's basically dead. Like it's crazy. I think that Apple has been innovating in a lot of interesting ways, but also I think people have kind of like put Apple in a specific lane or a niche or a pigeonhole in their mind, and there's certain things that I personally believe when they stray too far away from and try and explore new territory, it's probably not going to work. And I think the headset was one of those where people were just like, just make the tablets and the phones, and if you want to get freaky, make one of those watches and a
make a
tag.
ring, maybe.
Yeah. I would love an Apple Ring or whatever, but like when they come out of nowhere and they're like, "We've got a fridge," everyone's like, "Shut the fuck up, man! I'm not paying you $7,000 for a fridge that tells me has Spotify on it or some shit like that." I think it's doable. They could certainly turn an iPad into a portable console. But I think that people will just look at it and be like, Apple's trying to do one of those like side hustle things again, and it wouldn't take very much. Like, if they want to do that, they need to get to a place where gaming on Mac is taken seriously, and it just isn't. Like, that's entirely on developers to do that. You can play games on Mac via Steam, but as an ecosystem, the Apple Mac is a dog shit place to play video games. Like, it's not good. I would not invest in that company as a consumer if they put out a gaming handheld. And it can't be one of those ones. As someone who loves and plays video games, I'm not in the market for a hardware manufacturer to put out a piece of hardware and then hand over the kind of like responsibility of producing games or like marketing games and making that a viable gaming device to other people. Like, it's not like, it reminds me of like the way, what was that stupid Kickstarter funded Android gaming device thing?
The
Ouya, where they were like, "We got this hardware, now it's up to you to put the games on." Nah, it's not how it works, man. Everyone's like, "This sucks, we're out of here."
I think you've identified, like, I think hardware wise, technology wise, obviously it could work. You could and people point out it would be expensive. They would make it more expensive than some other stuff, but they have the MacBook Air with an M2 chip is like $1,000, or it gets down to $1,000. I think recently it got down to like $800 discounted, but like it's around that range. And you just take those innards, then you make the device. Now, Apple being dedicated or caring enough to make a device that feels good to play games on is questionable. And then all the other stuff you pointed out is really those are symptoms of the core issue, which have always been the core issue of Apple doesn't take gaming seriously. So why would they figure out any of these problems or try to get savvy with the gaming audience so they can really understand their needs and desires? They have never cared about that, and I just am of the opinion they will never care about that. So those are the reasons it won't happen and can't happen.
And by now, most people know that like a lot of game development, especially when you're trying to get into the space, it requires you to make things, spend money, and know that you're going to make not a lot back. You're going to even take a loss on it. But you do that knowing that you're building a foundation. Apple isn't in that business, man. Like, they're not in the business of doing things and taking a loss. I mean, like the VR headset is one situation where they probably did that, but like they're not going to do that repeatedly and intentionally, if you know what I mean. Like, that's the thing. When Sony came into the video game market, they came in knowing at various points that they're going to take a loss on this, because the games will be hopefully where they make some money back, but the hardware has for the longest time for most platform holders been a loss device.
And especially like the Steam Deck, especially, you could tell was a huge loser up front in terms of money.
Apple ain't doing that. Nope. No shot. They're not doing that. And like, they're going to make whatever it would be way too expensive. Like, it's not going to be affordable, and it's going to be like annoying as well, because like they will be everywhere being like, "This is the greatest gaming device that has ever lived. It can play 3 games. Give us $2,000." And you're like, I'm good, man.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's hit these last few stories. Video games in Hollywood. Paramount cancels the Halo TV show after 2 seasons. This is from Eric Hittelback-Furu at Game Reactor. The second season of Paramount's Halo series was definitely better than the first, but that doesn't say much, and we'll unfortunately not see a third, at least on Paramount. The producers of the show and like Amblin Entertainment and Microsoft are all trying to get Halo a third season on a different platform. I would say, just let it die.
Let it go,
Let it go.
Who needs it? Is anyone really, really like super into it?
Nah, I mean, no one normal.
No.
Yep.
No. The only way
on that.
Halo ODST.
Yeah, a reboot.
If you want to do a TV show, do that.
Just do something. Be like, oh no, okay, well no, the Halo's not done. We're going to do a new show with whoever, and we're going to start again. We're not starting again. Halo, we did 2 seasons, and how fun was that? But now we're going to go to Halo ODST, and this time it's going to be the gritty action show you were asking for.
I really, really, really love Halo. Like, I love playing the video game series Halo. I do not care about that story one bit.
I know there are people that do, but I'm with you.
I know people do, and I respect it, but I'm just not one of those people. And I do wonder if them thinking that a lot of people in the mainstream would care about the story was a bit like misguided.
Yep.
I feel like Halo's vibes are better than their story.
Yeah,
if you know 100%. What I mean. And they have some like okay aspects of their mythology, but as a story, it's just like,
right,
nah, man.
You got to get, and you had to get the show had to like get the vibes right first, and it seems like it didn't quite do that.
Yeah. And also like, I'm gonna get so much shit for this. And again, I say this as someone who loves this franchise and loves it. Master Chief is a deeply unserious character to put on a television show. Like, he is a personality void. Like, and like coming to it and being like trying to give him a personality, it's just weird, man. He is Lego Green Ranger.
Well, I mean,
just let him be that.
You could do that, but you kind of have to like just make him like a force of nature, right? Where it's like, where maybe the focus is on something else. And then suddenly Master Chief is here, and oh my God, look what he's doing. That's crazy. It has to be kind of like that, like a storm coming in.
Do you know what that show should have been, and who I would have put in charge of making that show? The crew that made 24.
Sure.
Like, the Master Chief needed to be Jack Bauer.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's not. He's like... He's something in between where they're trying to humanize him. It's like, no, have him come in and just be a like wrecking ball.
A wrecking ball, yes.
And they they freeze that motherfucker, and then when they need some shit done, they unfreeze him, and he comes out and he's doing all the worst shit.
Yep.
He's doing everything UNSC is telling him not to do. He's like holding people hostage. He's torturing them, and he's like,
and the team that like unleashed him, having to deal with the ramifications of like what he's done, like, and like
you
just
cut back to CTU, but it's like UNSC, and everyone's going mad. It's like, how can you stop this guy? And it's like, no, he's the Mr. Chef.
Yeah,
he's going to do whatever he wants.
He's going to do the right thing, and he's going to do it with violence.
This is why we put him out.
Yeah.
He is Green RoboCop.
Yes.
And it's like, I love Halo. Like, I have been playing Halo since the first game, bought an Xbox for it, but Master Chief is, for me, just not a great video game character as a personality. Yep. He's got a great silhouette. Every now and then he says one word, and it's like, cool, he said the one word. If you're trying to humanize him, he's not that guy. Everyone else around him is that guy.
You've made a mistake. You have found yourself in the wrong place with this story, if that's what you're trying to do.
Exactly. Like, he is a mascot for a video game company. He's not a character that you want to try and get behind. Like, that's where like Cortana comes in. He's Giant Bubsy. Okay, that's what we're saying. But like put it on the same like 24-hour clock as well. Like, do the same thing. I don't know, like fucking weird flood are back in 24 hours.
Yeah, space time.
Kill everything. Yeah, do the clock. Do it all.
Just the one-for-one remake of 24, but with Master Chief.
Yeah. 24 apparently being developed into another movie. Another movie is coming, which interesting. I'll take another movie.
Sure, why not? I need to get back into that. I think I'm at season 3. I need to.
Dude, I love 24. Is one of my favorite shows of all time. I had the Jack Bauer messenger bag.
Oh, really?
I went to Comic-Cons in the UK specifically to get Dennis Haysbert, President Palmer, to sign my 24 comic.
That rules.
I was hard into it, dude. I was hard into it.
I enjoyed the first 2 seasons quite a bit. It was my workout show. I think I should do that again.
I think season 2 had Imhotep from Mummy in it. Habib Marwan.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, that's where he's from.
Imhotep.
Yeah.
And also, I think that's the same season that has Shore Agadishu in it, who is in Mass Effect. She's Tali's mom in Mass Effect.
Okay, I think I remember putting that together. That was
it. Might be cool. Season 3 or 4 though.
Okay, I do remember like a Tally coming up with 24. All right, let's hit these last 2. Amazon says Fallout Season 2 is ahead of schedule. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Let's see. Following the premiere of Fallout earlier this year, Prime Video didn't waste any time renewing it for a second season. Now, after the show earned 16 Emmy nominations, including for Outstanding Drama Series and a Best Actor in a Drama nod for Walton Goggins, the early word on Fallout Season 2 is very encouraging. Geneva and Graham and Jonah and Kilter have such visions for this. They are hard at work. We already have scripts in hand for Season 2, said Amazon MGM Studios television head Vernon Sanders during an interview with the Wrap. So we're really far ahead of schedule, basically. And it's premature for me to give you a release date, but I'll tell you we are working hard to be back as fast as possible.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that.
Right. Don't rush it. But I'm not surprised that they are like trying to get on like this stuff going as quickly as they can, because
it's the worst thing to say after something is like a surprise hit is like, we're flying the next one out as quick as possible, everyone.
We're shitting this thing out.
Yeah.
Stand back.
We're gonna make this shit diarrhea. That's how quickly we're getting this out. It's like, all right, man.
I mean, I think that for these shows, wouldn't be unusual for it to be like 2 years between. I bet they're going to try to get it out by the end of 2025.
I'm just happy Walton Goggins is doing well. Okay,
of course he deserves it.
And I know everyone loves Walton Goggins now, but where were you when The Shield was on TV? Huh? Where were you when Shane Vandrell was dropping grenades in his homeboy's lap? Okay, where were you? You just weren't there. I'm an old school Goggins fan. Okay,
love the Gog, and I'll always love the Gog. I'm trying to think, when did I first like really be like, man, this guy rules, and I can't place it. And then finally, new Minecraft movie leaks received mixed receptions from fans. This is from Kyle Knight at DualShockers. Leaked images, which they've been taking down, so I'm not going to put it up here, everybody, because I just don't want to deal with that with the show. But if you want to go find them online, you can. Tam, I did put it in the doc if you want to see it yourself. Basically, fans are... yeah, that's what I was... Okay. Fans are not happy with the way it looks. Now, the Jack Black element, I actually love that. That looks incredible. If there's a movie of him just doing that the whole time... Now, of course, he threw Kyle Gass under the bus. Go fuck yourself, Jack Black.
Isn't he like cooked?
I don't know if he's fully cooked, but he's definitely
there's that
choices.
video of him on stage laughing at Kyle's joke,
right? And then throwing him under the bus the next day.
I cannot. Yeah, that's rough, man.
That's rough. No, I mean, you guys can't. You're gonna have to go find it yourself, because they're doing DMCA takedowns on these pictures. And,
Devil May Cry actions, as we call them.
Yes, Devil May Cry actions, and I just can't handle that. Not again.
Imagine Minecraft characters, but remove the thing that they're known for, that Minecraft look, and make them fuzzy.
Make them fuzzy. So that's the Creeper's the one that a lot of fans are very like annoyed by. They basically have green fuzzy fur, like the starting stages of a chia pet. Otherwise, it looks like the Creeper. But yeah, and people are like, this looks stupid, and a lot of fans are definitely like, this is going to be the worst.
That Bumblebee is very cute, though.
Yes, I do like the Bumblebee. I think the Bumblebee and the sheep actually are fine. I don't know. I think you have to see these things in context, right? Like,
I'm up for this. Like,
yeah,
I'm down for this. I don't care, as long as Jack Black isn't being a pest again.
Right.
Also, like, I'm very over Jack Black, and I have been for a really long time. Like, I get it. He's charming.
I was over him, and then I came back in a big way. I can't remember. I think I watched him sing the national anthem or something, and he just was going for it. I'm like,
is he in that Borderlands movie?
Yeah, he's Claptrap.
I think that this is going to be that's phase 2 of the Jack Black fall off. I think.
Right. Well, clearly, again, just for people that don't know, there was a joke about an assassination attempt made by Kyle Gass, his partner of Tenacious D.
Not a particularly funny joke,
right,
but
but also not like the worst joke
end of the
made.
world. No.
Yes. No. And Jack Black laughed that night, and then the next day, I guess he posted a thing on Instagram where he's like, "I'm not working with that guy anymore."
Yeah.
What? You've been working together my entire life. You're like one of the first comedy duos I remember.
Yeah. And like, you've stood by each other through thick and thin, but now that he made a joke about someone who he dislikes, a political joke, you're like throwing him under the bus. What's going on, man? I mean, like, he's Jack Black is in more kids brands than ever before. Like,
right. Yeah. I know. I get the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
Like,
so I guess
someone's going to not cut the check anymore. Sure.
But like, come on, man. Like, I'm sure you've got enough money to be like, you know what? I don't really care. I'm going to look after my homeboy.
And if you just had said nothing, No one would have known. No one would have known or said anything, and it would have blown over. And your agent could have like made it fine with all these companies that were like, well, aren't you going to renounce this? Denounce it, whatever.
We cast Jack Black in the next Hitman movie.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, I don't know. For Jack Black's character though, imagine Jack Black dressed as like a Steve costume from Walmart, but it's not like he likes trying to look exactly like Steve. It's just the shirt and the pants, and then he's holding a pickaxe. I don't know. That looks incredible to me. I wish that I wasn't down on Jack Black at the moment because I think this looks incredible.
He doesn't have Steve energy, though.
No.
He looks too confident. They should have cast Jake from State Farm as Steve.
Wait, which Jake from State Farm? The white one or the black one?
You know the one.
The white one, right?
Absolutely not. No, the OG.
Well, that guy, the black Jack from State Farm has a swag and energy and that stuff.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Like I think he can build up to that. Whereas Jack Black is on like 11 charisma all the time. You know what I'm saying?
It's like there's a white one, and it's so funny because I guarantee there's some loser out there that's just like, in my day, Jake from State Farm was a white guy, and they took it away from us, and the kids don't even remember the white Jake from State Farm.
I feel like that could be a really funny gag in that movie, where like just white Jake from State Farm appears as a multiplayer character, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then like gets trapped in a house and set on fire with creepers by the other one.
I love it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. People check out this photo. They'll probably, if this is coming out, maybe there'll be a trailer soon, and I think this stuff will look better in context. But who knows? Also, Minecraft movie. I probably won't see it unless my kids want to see it. So who knows?
No, Jack Black's best role was standing in the background of Demolition Man, and everyone knows it.
God, he was pretty cool there. All right, that does it for the news. I got a poll question, which I will bring up here in a moment. Did we put this one up? Let's see if Sean did that. Let's check right now. Yeah, he did. Thank you so much, Sean. Appreciate that. All right, have you made an in-game purchase in a game in the last year? 57% have said yes. 43% said no. There was, of course, that research done recently where someone said that 82% of American adults have made in-game purchases in games, or the ones that play games anyhow. 82% did. But 57% of our audience said yes, and maybe 43% of our audience just forgot that they did, or something. Or maybe they actually haven't. How about you, Tam? Have you made an in-game purchase in the last year in a video game?
No, not in the last year. I think the last thing that I bought, I've only ever done I've done a few places, but the last thing I would have spent a decent amount of money on was Overwatch.
Right.
But I ain't done that in a long while. But yeah, I haven't. I just don't know. Actually, maybe I bought a Street Fighter thing.
Right. It's easy to forget is the thing. I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like, you get the skin and then you you move on pretty quickly. It's like, oh yeah, did I do that? And you probably did. All right. We have a new poll question. We'll get to that in a second. Before we do, Tam, why don't you tell people what you have going on, where they could find you, all that good stuff.
I have spot-ons going out today, which you can check out. Lucy and I are talking about Capcom. It's just a Capcom love episode. We were just talking about how
Capcom.
good they are.
They deserve it. They earned it.
That was kind of the episode. It was like,
hell yeah.
I think we should probably pay more attention to Capcom and give them some credit and flowers because they're doing really, really well.
Yep. They've earned it for sure.
Yeah, they have. So as that, as a quick chat, we have UPF happening lately, which is going to be the Nintendo World Championship stuff, I believe. Is that still the case?
That's the case. Yeah. We'll play some of that. Yeah. We'll kind of try some of the things in there.
I'll be dipping in and out of that because someone threw a meeting in the middle of that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just come hang out with us whenever you can. That'd be great.
That's happening. And then BCR is after that.
Yeah, we'll do a quick BCR after that. Just talk about a few things.
Yeah, I've got a couple games that I've been playing that I'd love to. Well, one game that I'd like to talk about if it's fun. Yeah, and then we'll be back next week with the usual stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find me everywhere. I think I'm going to start streaming again, hopefully next week. So if you don't already follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitch. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Let's see here. New poll question. Would you buy a Steam Deck style device from Apple? Yes or no?
Hell no.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't, but mostly because I don't think they would do the stuff that like the attention to detail that Steam has for the Steam Deck is like second to none, and I don't think Apple would be able to pull that off.
I just don't think they'd price it anything less than like $800.
Yeah, I mean, the before the Steam Deck, like those kinds of devices, like right before that, they were like $1,200, $1,300. So I think Apple kind of coming in at like $1,000, and if their device can like play, because their chips are actually just better than the stuff that everyone's using right now. I don't know. The games could look better, and I want to see it. I know everyone chat's like hell no, but I want to see it, but I don't know. All right, and then let's see. We'll get the results of this poll, and we'll discuss it on Game Mess mornings on Monday on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, as Tam said, stick around. In about an hour or so, we'll get UPF going. I believe that I have set a world record time on the first stage of Nintendo World Championship. Mush Zoom. I think I took maybe like 100, 200 tries or something like that, but I was able to get there. If there's a better time, no way to know because there's no fucking leaderboards. All right.
Actually, Sean is in the chat. Sean's at Evo this week.
Yes, Sean is at Evo.
I don't know. Keep an eye on his Twitter, I guess, or wherever he's at. Maybe he'll be posting things. You get to some behind the scenes Evo stuff, cool stuff.
And if you see him there, say hi.
Say hi to Sean. Also, Sean, that thing that we didn't know whether you'd be able to do, they replied. So check your email.
Hey, all right. He's out there doing work, son.
He is,
Tam, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games, man. I really appreciate it and need it.
Hell yeah. I love doing it. Dregs Day, baby.
Dregs Day. We'll have another Dregs Day in the future. Everybody look out for that. Until next time, you are the best audience in gaming. Have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. No, Squidward's $35. I'm waiting for a sale.
What?
Everyone's mad at me for not buying Squidward for my kid when she came to ask me for Squidward.
What are you buying? Is this a figure of Squidward?
It's a stuffy.